Welcome to the Mitchell Hawks podcast, sponsored by Kurt's Coolers. This is where we talk about past and future events for the Mitchell Hawks. Now, here are your hosts, Scott Bridge and Stevie Dom. Welcome to episode 5 of the Mitchell Hawks podcast. My name is Stevie Dom. I'm here alongside Mitchell Hawks General Manager Scott Bridge. How's it going today, Scott?
Fantastic, Steve-O. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. It was a bit of a slower week for the Hawks as we put out the Goderich Flyers the week before, as we waited for the other series to wrap up. They have wrapped up, and we now know who the Hawks' opponent is for round 2, which will lead us into our first segment of the podcast, the series preview, sponsored by Players Carpentry and Masonry, located just outside of Stratford. Players has been a family-owned and operated business for over 26 years. They perform all levels of building and remodeling, offering full design services to high-quality finished projects. This segment is also sponsored by Mitchell Tire, a locally owned and operated tire auto service and sales company that has been operated in Mitchell since 1993. For all your passenger, commercial, truck, or agricultural vehicle needs, Mitchell Tire has you covered. It is a fully licensed automotive company, so make sure you check out Mitchell Tire. The Mitchell Hawks have an opponent for round 2, and it will be a 2021-22 Pollock Finals rematch between our Mitchell Hawks and the Hanover Barons. This is going to be a tight series, as pretty much majority of the games this season were 1 or 2 goal games. The Hawks' record against the Barons this season was 2-3-2. Unfortunately, they got outscored 18-9, but there were 2 games that were that was 4-0 and 5-0, which is your score differential. But other than that, all the other games were very, very close. All 1 goal, 2 goal games. What is the key to the Hawks coming out on top of what is going to be a very closely fought series?
Well, obviously we've watched some video on our first round against the Goderich Flyers and have pointed out a few things that we need to work on, and also pointed out some great things that we need to continue doing as well, Steve. So I think if our players stick to the game plan, stick to what Holden Lansink and Louis Livingston have been preaching to them for the last number of practices, we should have a good showing. But we've got to stick to it, and everybody has to buy in. That's the biggest thing that I've kept saying over and over again in this podcast is we have to buy in this time of the year. We've got to fight together as a family and realize that you're not going to get this time back. It's do or die. And every single shift, every single second counts, because like you said, how many close games did we have out of the 6? We had 4 tight games or seven games, sorry, and 5 of those were tight. So we need to eliminate those 2 shutouts and start scoring some goals and keep the puck out of our net and give Jacqueline some support.
And you just mentioned Jacqueline. He was great for the Hawks in round 1 versus Goderich. Both teams swept their respective opponents. Sometimes when you have this time period, you sometimes worry about sitting too long, getting a little bit of rust, but both teams have sat roughly the same amount of time. So both teams should be as prepared as the other and should be ready to go. What are you looking for in game 1 to help give the Hawks an edge that will last throughout the rest of the series?
Well, the one thing we have to do is just shut down Hanover's top guys. I mean, they've got a really heavy top 6. And I believe when I looked at their stats, they came through with 8 guys that were a point per game against the Walkerton Capitals. And a lot of those guys are top 6 forwards and sprinkling in a D-man here and there. So we have to be prepared for the push. We have to be prepared for a tight battle as they want to continue their scoring ways as well. So I think if we can control the house, keep Hanover to the outside, we'll make Jacqueline's job a lot easier.
You mentioned Hanover's top players. I have a list of top players throughout the season and so far in the playoffs for both teams. I just want to kind of go over and talk about each player and what you're looking for from the Hawks standpoint to keep their production going. And then for Hanover side to look what you guys need to do to shut that player down or things you're looking for to keep that person's point production down. Mitchell's first key player, number 3, Mark Cassidy. Mark had 41 points this season for the Hawks and had a great first round series against Goddard. What are you looking for from Mark to keep up his strong performance so far in the playoff?
We just need him to be a really strong leader on and off the ice, and he's proven that he can do that. And I know that winning makes that a lot easier. So even through the tough times and the battle it's going to be in this series and the grind, we still need him to step up and be that leader because the young guys are looking up to him. And I know that at times, it may not feel that these guys are looking at you, but they really are. And if you can lead by example and lead the right way, like we know Cass can do, it's going to be a trickle effect, and it starts from the leader and it'll trickle its way down. So he's had a stellar start to the playoffs for us. He had a great showing in the regular season, very consistent. So that I know this round it'll be a little bit more difficult to be very consistent like he was against Goddard. But hey, if he can come through and score some big goals on the big stage at the right time, that's going to make a world of a difference.
Yeah, he was a huge difference in that sweep versus Goddard. Like, despite the fact that it was a sweep, we had quite 2 or 3 1-goal games or 2-goal games, and he scored some big goals. So we're definitely looking for him to continue that performance. And now for Hanover, the first key player I have for them is number 23, Curtis Arnold. He had 45 points in the regular season for Hanover. Um, what are some things that the Hawks can do to maybe limit his point production or maybe just slow him down?
He's a tough player to control, right? I saw him play his rookie season with the Barons, and then the Listowel Cyclones made a trade for Arnold and brought him into their organization. So he's had the opportunity to practice at the junior B level, go over video at the junior B level, training at the junior B level, and then come back to Hanover. So he's got all the characteristics of a good player, and we have to realize it's not going to be easy. So we just have to make life very difficult on him. And if we can do that and frustrate him, I think that'll be the biggest difference.
In the playoffs, the key shutting down main players is to get in their head and frustrate them and just take away their time and space. And we'll definitely be looking for the Hawks to do that to Arnold. The second player for Mitchell, their second key player, number 24, Andrew Geisbers. Geisbers had 38 points this season and had 4 points in 4 games during our first round series. What are you looking for from him to keep that production going and continue his strong play?
Well, I think that Andy's played a lot better I thought he played a lot better in the first round than what the points tell you. Sometimes the numbers don't always speak how he's been. I think that he's well deserved of a few more goals in there. He was absolutely robbed by McCarthy and Tight quite a few times. Andy could easily have 3 or 4 more goals to his resume here in the playoffs. The first round that he's played with the Mitchell Hawks. So I think that he's a very key component to that second line center and also the power play too as well. If he can get going, I think that the confidence will just be through the roof with him. And again, he's been so consistent with us this year, and I know that not a lot will rattle him. And I know that he will be the driving force to that line that he's on as he's in the middle.
Yeah, and he really has been very consistent throughout the whole season and at the start of this playoffs. And we're looking for him to continue that and maybe get a couple more goals or bounces that go his way. Now for Hanover's second key player, I have number 7, Peyton McIsaac, who scored 41 points this season. Um, he's one of their top players. What are you looking for the Hawks to do to slow him down?
Another D-man that's got a lot of experience, right? So he's a great puck moving defenseman for Hanover and moves the puck to the forwards real effectively. So the one thing we have to do is shut down that clean pass for him. If he sees a player open, he'll stretch it to them and boom, away the forward goes with speed. He reverses the puck real effectively as well. He knows where his defense partner is on the ice at all times, as it seems, watching him play throughout his junior career. So we just have to limit that pass. And also, when he's at the blue line and we're in the defensive zone, seems to find that seam towards the net. Even with bodies in front, he still finds a way to hit the net, hit the goaltender, or score goals. So I know that his points are down a little bit here in the playoffs, but I think right now he's really concentrating on defense, and the points will come for him if we're not careful.
Yeah, and it's the main thing really is being careful with these guys and making sure you limit their chances. And for Mitchell's third key player, number 19, Tyson Hall. Hall had 32 points this season for the Hawks. He's one of the key guys on their power play. What are you looking for from him in this series?
Oh, Haller had a great series against the Flyers, and he's had a couple real stellar practices since we've put out the Flyers. And I know that he's really pushing for that first goal of the playoffs, 4 assists so far. So he's definitely been a setup man, but he's a guy that's got a great shot. And if he can get in tight on McCabe, we've seen him do it time and time again throughout the regular season, and we watched him do it last year for the Mitchell Hawks, scoring some big goals. If we can get him in tight, he's got a heck of a shot. So if he can find those soft areas, he is going to be successful. He's just a little bit snake bit here right now, but hey, once that first one goes in, I think that's a good sign of things to come for Haller.
Exactly, and just watching that last series, he was all over it, pretty much throughout the entire series, with 4 assists, but he just a couple unlucky bounces that didn't end up going his way. But he's played very well this season and so far in the playoffs. On the other side, we have Hanover's our third key player is Ryan Calhoun, who had 35 points this season. He's another one of the Hanover's top forwards. What are you looking for the Hawks to do to shut him down, as he's one of their key point getters?
Yeah, key point getter, and the kid's absolutely on fire right now. And last year when the Hawks played Hanover in the finals, he was a pit bull out there. He was doing a lot of things right, and I know he was on the chalkboard quite a few times for the Hawks to slow down, cut down his time and space. But I think he's got 10 points in his first 4 games in the playoffs that he scored against Walkerton. So he's a guy that doesn't sit in the box very often. You can try to get underneath his skin time and time again, but he's not going to take any stupid penalties, and he's not going to let you win that way. So we really have to limit him. He's a driving force for the Barons right now. And again, he had a strong regular season. We saw a lot of nice play out of Calhoun here in the regular season. So if he starts blooming full of confidence, look out. We'll have a tough time shutting him down. So he's one key guy that when he's on the ice, whoever's taking him better make sure that they don't lose sight of him.
And another guy you better not lose sight of for the Mitchell Hawks as their fourth key player is Zach Schooley, number 26. He had 9 points this season, but he only played 15 games as he played a lot for the Stratford Warriors, and I think he was injured for a little while. Um, he's one of those guys that can be a series changer offensively. If he really gets going, look out because he'll be hard to stop.
Yeah, and I think Zach's just getting more comfortable as the season goes on. It's a big change from the GOJHL to the PJHL. So I've thought that he's gelled with the team real nice. He's getting a little more comfortable on the power play. He's getting a little more comfortable 5-on-5 on the smaller ice surface. And again, another one where don't let the points fool you. because he's looked a lot better than that. He's had some grade A chances in tight. He's driving to the net hard. He's passing the puck effectively. And Schooley's one guy that we were really ecstatic to get at the trade deadline. And as we know that we brought him in for this reason, and I think it's just going to better his game. Getting all the ice that he's going to get in the second round, and time on the power play, and playing in the top six. So it's going to be big for Zach, and I know he's looking forward to it, and we're looking forward to helping him however we can.
Yeah, and he has really played very well since joining the Hawks, and we definitely are hoping for him to continue, and I'm sure he will. A guy like with skill like that doesn't just go away. He's very, very good, and I expect him to continue his strong play. Another player for Hanover who's been playing very well with some strong play is number 12, Ryan Gates. He had 30 points this year for the Barons. What are you looking for from him to help slow him down? As he's another one of their top forward.
Yeah, and Ryan's not a big guy. I mean, I think he's 5'6", 5'7". He's a crafty forward. He the one thing that we one thing we know about him is he's a pass first type player, right? So he'll always look to dish the puck off, but it's hard. He's hard to defend because he can read the play. So at times I've seen Ryan, if you think he's going to pass it, that's when he'll fool you and take a few extra strides with the puck, and maybe get himself into a good scoring chance and shoot instead of pass. So yeah, he is that pass first type forward, but another guy that if you give him too much time and space, he'll snap one off there when you're unprepared for it. So we've just got to cover him well. You got to be physical on him, and if you're rough on him, I think that you can kind of knock him off his game, but it's a lot easier said than done with a player like that.
Right. Another someone who was a bit roughed up in the last series, ended up being injured in game two against Goderich, is Jonathan Tenhag. I believe he's looking to make his return in this series. It wasn't looking great originally when he got hurt, but he's recovered very well and very fast, and we're great to have him come back in this series. He had 16 points this season for the Hawks, and uh, late in the season, and in those first two games before he got hurt, was very, very good, and we're looking for him to continue that.
Yeah, he started off the season on the injured reserve list as well. So he sat out the first month, or was it 4 or 5 weeks? It's a long time ago now. So
Yeah.
um, he started off the season injured, and didn't get into game action until after the first month. So I've thought how Ted Haig has responded has been real effective. We've had him up at time, a lot of times playing with Cass, and those two just feed off each other tremendously. Johnny's going to work like a hound dog in the corner, getting those loose pucks. He's very physical. That game in Hensel, game number 2, I think he threw 4 body checks in his first shift of the game. He's a playoff performer. He's when the games are tight and in the and you get into the trench this time of the year, we know he's a guy that's going to step up, use his size, use his physicality, and use his smarts. He's a good stick handler with the puck. He can wiggle his way out of tough situations, and if he can find his teammates, he's going to set them up with a great scoring opportunity as well. He gets open real effectively. So if he can find his way around the opponent to get into some soft ice, he's going to have some great looks here in the next round.
Yeah, and he has played very well, and he seems to always be in the right places at the right time, and seems to always be someone on the score sheet in any capacity, whether that's assists or goals or whatever. He's played very well coming into the playoffs and in his first two games. Someone that the Hawks are going to have to slow down is number 11, Joey Stymack. He had 29 points this season for the Barons. Um, it's going to be key shutting him down, as the rest of the players mentioned before. But yeah, it's going to be real key to shutting him down for this in this series.
Yeah, it will. I mean, he's got 6 points in his first 4 games. He was again at the deadline. They ended up picking him up from Hagersville. He was let go from there, and the Hanover Barons recruited him in. I believe he's residing in London right now, and recruited him in, and he's been great for them. He really has, coming into a new atmosphere and new teammates halfway through the season, and for him to step in doing what he's doing it's impressive. So obviously, again, you've got to knock him off his game. We know that he can be a little bit testy at times. So if we can get him riled up in any capacity, I think that'll be our goal, and that'll definitely be effective if we can do that. So if you just let him go about his business, not getting his grill, he's going to hurt you with pot and a fuse. So we've seen some real nice play from him so far this year, and we just want to make sure that we shut him down, and yeah, hopefully our top guys can do that.
Yeah, and speaking of top guys, we have two of the top goalies remaining here in the playoffs. Obviously, both series are going to have premier goaltending matchup with Garrett Goalie over there in Wingham for the Ironman, and Mount Forest has very strong goaltending as well. But in our series, it's Josh Jacklin versus Riley McCabe. Both this season had very similar save percentages. Jacklin had a 927 and McCabe at a 929. Both goals against average below 3. McKay with a 208 and Jacqueline with a 256. Um, Whoever can get to the other goalie first is going to be most likely to come out on top. Um, but yeah, it's going to be a real tough time getting by McCabe or Jacqueline in this series.
Yeah, it'll be a goaltending battle. We don't expect anything less. We talked about it at practice. So you're going to be a lot of low scoring games. So that's where we have to continue to do the little things right to be successful. And again, we might sound like a broken record over and over again, but every shift matters. Every second counts because, like you said, those tight games, those 2-1 games, those 1-0 games that we won this year, it came off of a huge shift, and either was a great defensive play that led to an offensive goal, or staying out of the box, not retaliating. Every little thing like that matters. So we can't get caught up in the rough stuff, no matter how frustrated we get, no matter what they're saying to us. We just have to stick to the game plan, and hopefully there's a handful of games where we can score 3-4 goals, and then we should be successful. We know Jacqueline's going to keep us in the game. He's been doing it all season long. He's been the backbone to our goaltending and defense. So defense will come back. They'll help him out. We have lots of faith that Josh will play stellar for us.
And last series, we really threw the puck at Goddard's goalie there. I think it was around 244 shots, around 250, roughly like that in 4 games. McCabe's only faced 91 shots. He has been overly busy. I think the key against him is getting as many pucks to the net as possible.
Well, there's the bar right there. We better get over 91 shots in 4 games, because I think Walkerton didn't have more than 14 or 15 skaters in any of those 4 games. So, yeah, we're hoping we beat 91 shots. So that'll be a big difference, is having the 4 lines rolling for us. And the coaching staff has done a great job at that this year, keeping everybody active, keeping everybody in the play, keeping everybody involved in the games. And I know that as games are tight and you're coming down to the wire, you have to be a little bit more careful on matchups, and we'll do that. So we're hoping that with 4 lines going, knock on wood, that we're healthy, that McCabe should see a little more rubber. But we have to make those quality shots. You know, if we've got low amount of shots, start the game off. We just can't be throwing pucks from the perimeter, praying that it's gonna take a lucky bounce and go in. We've got to get high quality shots on McCabe. He's a high quality goaltender, and again, I've watched him play at the junior B level, and he's got a lot of great experience at a higher level. So we know that we know what we have to do to be successful against him.
Yeah, and it'll be key to get on him early. Game 1 goes Wednesday night at 8:30 in Mitchell. Be sure to come out and fill the barn because the boys really do appreciate when the barn is full, and they really love it to play in front of full crowds.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The last time Hanover was in Mitchell, we were shut out. And again, McCabe played a stellar game, and we had a lot of fans at that game. Hanover travels well, too. So if you're a Hawks fan, come to the game, get there early if you want a good seat.
Game 2 goes Friday night at 8 o'clock in Hanover. The rest of the schedule has not been released at the time of this recording. But when it is released, you'll be able to find it on any of the following social media platforms: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or the Mitchell Hawks website. All those links are in the description of this video. Before we move on to our guest segment of the show, we would like to give a huge shout out to Scott's Greenhouses and BDB Grains for being our bus sponsors for Game 2, as well as MCR in Mitchell for sponsoring the buses for Game 4. It is all greatly appreciated. So thank you to Scott's Greenhouse, BDB Grains, and MCR in Mitchell.
Got to give a huge shout out to our sponsors there. I mean, at this level, at any junior level, right? It's not possible without our amazing sponsors year after year. So thank you very much. Everybody is an absolute pleasure to work with. And we just, everybody in the Mitchell Hawks organization, thanks you for your continuous support.
Now on to our final segment of the show, our guest interview, sponsored by Cody Matthews, IG Wealth Management. Cody Matthews is a certified financial planner with IG Wealth Management, offering the best understanding of all the products he offers that can help assist his clients reach their financial independence and success. Our guest for today's show is Mitchell Hawks center number 24, Andrew Geisbers. Andrew has played 2 seasons of junior hockey, last season for the Port Stanley Sailors, and this season with the Mitchell Hawks. Gysbers was among the top of the Hawks leaderboard in points this season with 20 goals and 18 assists for an impressive 38 points in 40 games. So far in this year's playoffs, Andrew has 1 goal and 3 assists for 4 points in 4 games. Gysbers and the rest of the Mitchell Hawks are preparing for round 2 battle against the Hanover Barons. Welcome to the show, Andrew Geisberg.
Hey, Scott. Hey, Steve-O.
Andy?
Now, you're from Ilderton, Ontario. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Is that where you ended up playing your minor hockey?
Yeah, I played Ilderton all the way up.
I've played Ilderton a couple of times. They're always fairly competitive and they're a pretty good team. Now, you're a center currently. Is that position that you always played, or did you switch from winger to center or whatnot through your career?
I actually played defense up until Bantam, I think, and then I made the switch up to forward and always played center the rest of my life.
Do you have any favorite memories or experiences that you had playing for Ilderton as a kid that comes to mind when you think about playing for them?
Yeah, obviously winning 2 OMHA championships when we were younger. So those were definitely a good memory.
Did you have any players that you watched or looked up to that you modeled your game after, or anything like that, or any people in that atmosphere?
Obviously, Bo Horvat, playing in London, growing up watching him, and like guys like Patty Kane, Marner. We had season tickets for the night, so I went watched a bunch of games there.
Now, those are all fantastic role models to have. They're all very good players. Now, did you take anything from their games that you tried to put into your own games, or did you want to kind of have your own identity and your own, I guess, unique style?
Bo Horvat's straight up goal scorer kind of, so try to pot goals like he does. But yeah, Patty Kane and Marner, they're good passing, so I try to dish the puck a bit like them and stuff like that.
Now, last season, you obviously were not a part of the Mitchell Hawks. You played for the Port Stanley Sailors. In 28 games with them last season, you scored 18 goals as well as 17 assists for 35 points. What was it like playing for them?
It was a not bad experience. It was my first year junior, so I was kind of new to the league. Didn't really know what to expect. We didn't have the best season last year.
Now, you obviously had a good season with them, but then obviously in the off season, you got moved to the Mitchell Hawks. What was it like transitioning from Port Stanley to Mitchell?
Yeah, it was great. Scott actually made it really easy for me as well, but I only knew two guys coming in, Cass and Bird. So once I got into the room, everyone kind of just welcomed me in, like made some friends right away, which was really, really easy to get to know the boys and get on with our season.
Now, how's it been being a member of a Hawk, part of the Mitchell Hawks so far?
It's been great. No complaints so far.
As mentioned before, this season you ended up scoring 38 points, and last season you had 35 for a total of 73 in your junior career. What has been the key to your success over the last two seasons?
Obviously, just trying to get pucks to the net, score some goals, and
You've continued your success so far in the playoffs this season with 4 points, 1 goal, and 3 assists in 4 games. And what are you looking for from yourself as well as the rest of the team to help you and the rest of the team continue that success in the playoffs?
yeah, we got a tough series coming up here, so we got to get bodies in front of the net because Hanover's goalie is quite pretty good. So he'll save everything he sees. So as long as we keep getting bodies to the net, put pucks on net, and yeah, hopefully get some wins and keep moving on.
What would you say, Andy, the differences between the two divisions that you've played in? Have you noticed a big change in the North Pollock since coming over?
In the West Yak, I find it was a little less physical. So coming into the North Pollock, it's a lot more physical. It seems like a faster pace as well. You have less time with the puck once you pick it up. So it's been a tough, not a tough transition, but like a big difference I find.
And how have you found it playing on the smaller ice surface in Mitchell?
I was kind of used to it. Port Stanley actually has kind of the same size rink, so it's been kind of the same.
Yeah, I know you got an exhibition game in there in before the season started, so that's kind of a nice way to kind of say bye and hello at the same time.
Yeah.
Obviously, playing at junior C level, the size of the ice changes a lot. There isn't a specific standard for the ice rink. What's it like adjusting to different arenas and different sizes of ice?
You have more time with the puck on the big ices, so it's kind of easier to make some plays. But on small ice like Mitchell, you got to move the puck right away, try not to get hit, and yeah.
What have you found that you've definitely improved on this year? I know from talking to the coaching staff, they've enjoyed having you on the team. You're a big part of the top 6, and I've been a part of the top 3. So, what have you found that you've improved on this year, even though you've been so consistent all year?
I would say maybe my defense. I wasn't the best at defense last year, back checking and stuff. So, I've been kind of trying to work on that, get better at that.
That'll be a big help in the playoffs too, as well. So.
Before we close off this interview segment that we're very grateful that you joined us for, is there anything you'd like to say to the fans or any supporters out there that as you go into the second round?
Yeah, obviously just come out Wednesday, Saturday. We got home games. I want to see a full barn. So, yeah.
Thank you very much, Andy, for coming on the show. As mentioned before, it's greatly appreciated. Good luck to you and the rest of the team and the rest of your playoff run.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Andy.
That'll do it for today's show. We'd like to thank Andrew Geisbers again for coming on the show. Thank you again, Scott, for coming on. It's always a pleasure to do these podcasts with you. Come support the boys in Game 1 of the second round against the Hanover Barons. Any final remarks before we completely close the show out?
Not a whole lot. Just come on out to Mitchell on Wednesday and pack that barn out.
Thank you again, Scott, for coming out. Be sure to subscribe to this video. Follow all the team's social medias. If you haven't checked us yet out on Spotify, please be sure to do that. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.